Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah.
I live in Brooklyn. I go to Columbia right now. I'm studying bioethics there, and I work in comedy. So my name is Rokhsane. Do I start the whole thing over from the beginning? No. And my name's Rokhsane.
Okay. And how do you see the role of Muslims community in America?
I think it's very complicated to answer because America is so big and there's so many different communities just within this country that you can't really make one statement as to how every single person feels about the situation or Muslims in America. I think that we have done what we can do to contribute to American society. My mother's a doctor. I know amazing Muslim doctors, lawyers, we have congressmen that are now Muslim, and we are American and Muslim. I mean, it's not a hard idea. I think it's difficult for some people to understand, but we're also just American like anybody else. So I would say we're pretty ingrained in the fabric of any other American, like any other American society.
Do you think Muslims, they have well blend and they are doing okay here?
Yeah,
in general.
Of course you hear about, obviously there's a lot of bad outliers, and those are the things we all hear about, and they're still distressing, and we should never feel complacent or think that they're okay. But I personally think, like, if you look at the numbers, it wasn't a majority of people, for example, that voted Trump, or, you know, it's not a majority of people that feel a hatred towards Muslims. That's a personal belief. I know many people would.
Okay. And apart from being Muslim, as a Muslim comedian, how do you see this American society?
That's interesting. I see such a difference, I think, in generations, first of all. I think we're all getting more used to, there's so many first-generation immigrants. I'm a first-generation immigrant, and trying to understand where we fit in. We have even like someone like Aziz Ansari or like Mindy Kaling. Now we have people out there to show people what the experience is like. So I think I'm seeing a change as a comedian who works with other comedians who always comment on society, a change in attitude and normalization of different kinds of people, which is interesting.
Yeah. And what do you think? I mean, are you accepted as Muslim or as you?
That's interesting. I don't know. I think it just depends on where I am and in the setting. But I also think there's a lot of Muslims within America who can be judgmental towards other Muslims for the way they practice or how we've adapted. I mean, it's a different setting than our parents grew up, so a lot of us are interpreting Islam in kind of different ways that are less orthodox, and that can feel like a loss of culture for a lot of people. So understandably, there's a bit of, I think, tension even within Muslim communities in Western countries, especially with younger and older generations. But I just think it depends, for sure. I think it depends.
And what's your inspiration? I mean, who inspires you a lot?
Like a Muslim or anybody?
Or anyone, according to your field,
like someone like Jon Stewart or Bassem Youssef, who is out there risking their lives in some cases to make a commentary, which I think Westerners don't understand the impact of someone like Bassem Youssef doing that. Those people really inspire me because you can see how art can have such a beneficial impact on society, which is really cool.
And you see, after 2016 presidential election, there is this thought in the mind of a Muslim world that Muslims living here in America, they are not treated good, they are not treated equally. Do you agree with this?
I think as I said, you're looking at the outliers, what you see on TV, and I would add that in America, what we're seeing of Pakistan or Iran is also not a representation of the daily life of those people in the Middle East. So I think we have to take the information we're consuming on the television or media with a grain of salt in terms of how Muslims live day to day. That's not to say that we are always treated completely equally, and I would argue obviously against that. But I do think with Trump, there's also been a huge backlash of young people and minorities and underrepresented groups who have tried to come in with like an even stronger voice. And I think it's been an inspiring movement for a lot of people too. So, yeah.
So what about your, religious activities? Are Muslims free here to practice their religious activities?
Yeah.
You feel the society is tolerant enough to accept your values, your tradition, your
Yeah.
religion?
I think so. I think in New York specifically, my experience has been positive. And interestingly, most of my like reservations have been from my own self rather than outside like my bosses or anything. I'm too scared to say I need 5 minutes to go pray rather than someone telling me I can't. And I've always found support with my superiors. Interestingly, I've had Muslim bosses, or I guess formerly Muslim bosses, who were not as open to me being Muslim and practicing. So I've actually met the most resistance from other Muslims or Middle Eastern people, which is really interesting actually. Yeah.
So being a comedian, what kind of change you want to bring in the society, or you want to see in the society?
I just really want to normalize our experience, and I don't want it to be a political movement anymore, which is inherent because that's just kind of where we are right now. But I don't want, okay, for example, Roseanne just released an episode where the neighbor is Muslim and she calls the cops on the neighbor, and then at the end of the episode she realizes, oh, they're equal people, and it's supposed to be a lesson. But I find that sort of thing regressive because I can't believe we still have to teach these lessons to adults, and I want to live in a world where we can just talk about our differences, but it's not scary or a lesson, it's just life,
And what's the American dream according to you?
That's tough. I think a lot of young people are struggling with that idea right now. I would hope that, for me, the American dream is just accepting all immigrants, other people. I think that's what this country was founded on. I think we couldn't be who we are without immigration and different types of people. And I think people know the value of that, and I'm hoping one day we can accept it.
You see, you are the representative of youth, Muslim youth. So, what do you think? What's the way forward for them? What's the hope for them? You see, I just want to ask how the parents in society and universities and mosques they play their role to keep our youth away from extremism, terrorism, and drugs. What should be done?
I personally advocate for acceptance in all its forms. I think on both sides. I think Muslims should not be so resistant to the change that's happening with young people and how they're interpreting the faith, because I think the more we judge young people, the more they're driven towards extremism. And, people like Trump are pushing people towards extremism, because if you don't feel included in your society, you're going to turn to the other people that you think understand you, which unfortunately can be extremist movements.
And do you think Muslims should do something to make their perception better in the eyes of Western world? Is there any need?
Well, I'm a bit against the notion that we need to take a stand and do a specific thing. There's 1 billion Muslims on the planet, so it's not our responsibility. White people don't take responsibility for shooters, and nobody asks them to. And I think that perception is rooted in a xenophobia and a racism. And it's not feasible, to be honest. I'm not sure what they want us to do. Do they want us all to sign a card? It's not clear. So I think those ideas and that notion is, it's just not, it's not rational, it's not realistic.
And what about Ramadan?
Yeah.
Do you people have special gatherings, special things for this holy month?
Yeah, it's very cool. There's a lot of different mosques in New York City. Bay Ridge is predominantly an Arab area, and as you know, the Bronx is a lot of historically African and Black Muslims, and there's a lot of free events, and it's a cool season. I really enjoy it.
Okay.
the.
Would you like to tell them?
I would just say, I think it's important to us to tell our stories and to be secure in telling them. I always felt for a long time that I didn't have anything to say because I didn't think I'd be understood. But if anything, that means your story has more value. So.
Anything else would you like to add?
Oh no, I can't. Thank you.
Wait, she has to say something.
No singing. It was a joke. It was I don't sing. You can pay me. I'm not very, I'm an entertainer, but
Okay,
I have a rate.
entertain us. Tell us something interesting. Okay, so you got
No.
you got 1 minute. That's it.
And what?
To make us laugh.
Oh no, everyone just feels like they deserve a joke, but what did you do for me?
Oh, we are going to make you famous back home.
Oh no. Oh no. That's a horrible idea.
Okay, I thought you could tell us a joke.
I don't really have a joke like that. I'm trying to still get a job. Like I need to work, so I don't want my face out there.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
No, I was just kidding, okay?
I know.